So, I don't know what to talk about. I do know what to talk about. I have something I want to talk about, but I want to segue into it. And I guess I've just done that by not knowing what to talk about. Or not. Anyway, it's funny that our perceptions of things are completely determined by our state of mind. So we can have completely different perceptions on things based on how we currently are. Yeah, blaringly obvious, but interesting when you're aware of your perceptions. You're mindful, basically. You're mindful when you start perceiving things in a light which is unusual for you, I guess. So, like recently, there's been a couple of people move in. Earlier on, the common room was full with people, which I just instilled anxiety in me. And one of the new guys laughs a lot, quite exaggeratedly, in an exaggerated way, and I interpreted that as like some kind of insecurity, being over the top, just making jokes that are not funny and then really laughing at them, and then really laughing at a lot of what other people say, and then laughing in reciprocation to what other people say, even though you might not find it funny. You can kind of tell, when there's just so much laughter, it just seems artificial. Anyway, I interpreted that as like insecure and maybe a guy who thinks he's having a good time in life because he's chasing, transitory pleasure, instant gratification, but then overall his existential being is kind of like anxious and jittery. That's my perception of him, because I was not in a good state of mind. Had I been in another state of mind, I might have perceived him as just social and positive and, good at getting to know new people, even though he might be putting on something fake, a facade. Because I may have perceived that facade, because I think objectively that's what it was, but my interpretation of that, what I thought of when I saw the facade was dimmed in terms of its positivity, and I saw it quite negative. Another example, would be if you're at a house party with a load of uni students and you're, my age. Wow, Jesus, that's weird saying that. Oh yeah, back when I was at uni, you were my age when you were finishing uni. That's weird. Makes me sound much older than I am. Anyway, if you're at a uni party and you go ask some people, you've got to know if you want to smoke some weed with them, and they're like really excited, like yeah, thanks. They feel good because the older guy, the mature person, in terms of age, not mentally. I'm fucking retarded. Retarded people aren't immature. Okay, ignore that. Battery saver, not now. And you're outside, you're smoking weed, and you're like, have you smoked before? And they're like, yeah, they're trying to suck your dick, they're trying to show off a bit. If you were that person sharing the weed with these uni students, then you might be thinking, oh man, these kids are immature, or this is just pathetic, or why am I sharing my weed with this stuff? But if you're in another state of mind, you might perceive it as, it's nice that these uni students are trying something new, and they, fair play to them for coming to this party. They probably had a lot of anxiety, social anxiety, and I kind of grimaced there because, they might not be trying. It might not be good that they're trying something new. It's like saying, oh yeah, trying something new, heroin, trying something new, murder, trying something new, infanticide. You know what I mean? But yeah, you might perceive it in two different lights completely. Immature, or fair play to them for coming and socialising and hanging out with somebody who others might have been scared to approach or whatever, interact with. That's about it for that. Today I had a hell of a good workout with these resistance bands. It's just so fucking nice, and that's what makes me want to work out each day, and what makes me have decent workouts is because I just get to play my music like full blast from the Bluetooth speaker. Like today I was listening to Worm Rot and 6 Feet Under, and I played 2 Worm Rot albums, and it was just fucking mint. It was sick. I just put my hair down, headbang, fucking jump around, headbanging, looking like a twat, but you know, I fucking love it, and it makes me really enjoy my workouts. So, some of the things, one of the things I was aware of when I'm out there is you can see me and I can see people in the upstairs windows in our room, and people walk in and out sometimes, of course. And I noticed that there's a very subtle desire in me for people to see me, because I like want people to spot conversation about the music I listen to and like my headbanging. I don't want people to say, "Oh yeah, you're working out," but I notice a desire for people to ask about my heavy metal, or basically commend me or gratify me because I listen to extreme metal. That's interesting. I don't want to be gratified for working out, or it's the heavy metal thing, which suggests that potentially that I was always shunned for listening to heavy metal and stuff. I mean, you know, parents just would always say turn it off, and they couldn't stand the sound of it and stuff. So yeah, I guess that's where that desire comes from. That brings me on to thinking about how, like, what was I going to say? Yeah, how if you're aware of all your desires, like mindful, so if you're, let's say, enlightened or whatever, and you're aware of all that's going on, you're aware of your motivations, your fears in the moment, just as they're happening, does having that mindfulness eventually affect the desires and the fears you have? Does it affect yourself? Because I mean, if we say our self is what, you know, reacts to sense impressions, you know, who hears a car alarm and starts thinking, you know, should I go and call for help? Should I go check it out? Should I just walk on? You know, should I get whatever? And then evokes the emotions of like fear or panic, and then evokes the physical sensation. You know, you could quickly turn around and gasp, or you could just go and continue walking. If that's the self, then if we're aware of what the self is conjuring in terms of these fears, you know, these aversions, these doubts we have, the worries, the regrets, if we're aware of that self conjuring those things, is that awareness, does that awareness and how we perceive that awareness, does that affect what thoughts, fears and stuff are conjured? You know, what I mean is, like, if I see a blonde-haired woman, and you know, different scenarios, so one person might think, oh, I want to fuck her, another person might say, you know, think something pertaining to fear or shock, and just look away because it reminds him of a girl he used to fancy in school and still regrets not making a move. And 3, does he, you know, look at her scornfully or disgustedly, thinking that she's a slut or that she looks too fake or something if she's dressed like that? If each person is completely aware of the thoughts as they're coming up, their, you know, perceptions, does that shift, just by nature of it happening, does that shift the thoughts and fears we get? You know, if I've got childhood trauma pertaining to getting hit on the back, let's say I got whipped on the back, every time someone touches my back and I feel a lot of anxiety, I just turn at them, I get aggressive. If I'm constantly aware of that, what will change? You know, will I get less aggressive? And do I have to consciously change this, or consciously try to change this? Because I can't just say I won't get hit when I get slapped on the back. I mean, I imagine our conscious action can change future reactions, but, you know, will we stop getting scared or frightened when we get hit on the back just by being mindful? So is there, like, are we consciously, when we're mindful of it, are we conscious of what, can we reflect on it and be conscious of what we would like to change, you know? What I'm saying is, like, if you got hit on the back, is it just objectively better to not be scared when you get hit on the back, or is that something you have to want and then the changes take effect? I don't know. I'm leaving you with that, mainly because there are people in the kitchen and I'm anxious about someone walking out. See what I mean? I noticed anxiety and I was mindful of it. I mean, a couple of seconds delay, but I was aware of my motivation to end the video, like, pretty quickly. So will that awareness eventually stop me being as concerned about stopping filming when there are people in the kitchen? Or is that, you know, allayance, that decrease in anxiety dependent on me consciously taking action to increase social exposure, vlog myself in public? Does effort consciously have to be taken? Right, yeah, bye.